All right, so in this screencast, I would like to go over, um, how you should set up your animation, right? Whether you're working, I'm going to do this digitally, but whether you're working digitally or traditionally, it's pretty much the same way. You want to figure out how many frames you're going to have, right? So, and you want your animation to be repetitive, meaning like back and forth movement, whether they be walking, jumping, waving their hand. Like I had mentioned mine, I was going to have him have his head turned back and forth, which is what I was going to show you how I was going to do this. Um, and either way, traditional or digital, you should have frame by frame, right? So for instance, this would be my frame one. Okay, so I'm going to look at this like this layer is my first layer, or like my first frame, right? Or if you're working traditionally, like your first drawing, right? And now you have to create your second drawing. If you're working digitally, you can copy and paste, you can trace over. If you're working traditionally, you have tracing paper, right? Things like that you can use to trace over your objects to make it a little bit quicker. Um, so what I did, I want to make it look like his head is moving back and forth. So what I did was I took um, kind of backward. I did this kind of backwards, but it's okay. I took my drawing and I selected his head. Okay, so I selected his head using the polygonal lasso tool, right? And I did Command C, Command V, all right, to copy and paste his head. So now I have his head, like an extra head, right, that I'm going to use for the second frame. Um, then what I decided is I was going to flip the head so that it's going in the other direction. So I go up to Edit, and I go to Transform, and I can flip the head horizontally. So now the head is going in the other direction. Um, so now that head's going to go here, right? So I'm kind of positioning it so that that head's going to go here. But now that head also needs a body, right? Because all I have is that head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first initial drawing and I'm going to duplicate that layer. Okay, so now I have layer 1, my initial drawing, and layer 1 copy, which is my second drawing. I'm going to take that head that I just flipped and I'm going to merge it into my layer 1 copy. So to merge something down, what you can do is do Command E or Control E, and that will take your top layer. I'll do that again. You select your top layer and you do Command E, and it will merge your top layer into your bottom layer. All right, so now I have um, frame 1 and frame 2. Right. So I can also continue to build on this frame, on this animation. If I wanted him to do more than just turn his head, there's a lot of other things I could do. But you just have to keep adding those additional frames. So you can see this would be kind of my animation. But in my frame 2, let's see. In my frame 2, you can see that when I turn frame 1 off, I still have parts of frame 1 in it. So I need to kind of get rid of that. So what I'm going to do is select my frame 2 and just kind of color over those parts. I'm going to use my eyedropper to select the color and go in and just clean up the background, right, a little bit. And then I also want to clean up in here too. So you could use the stamp tool if you know how to use that, but I can also just pick up colors and go in and fill those colors in. Okay. Zoom in a little bit more. Um, The other thing that I was thinking about doing was making it look like his eyes are closing in this one. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just select the color of his skin and go in and just kind of, oops, fill this one. And get rid of the top of his eye so now it looks like his eyes are closed. Right. So when you look at this now, I have frame 1, which looks like this, and then frame 2, which looks like that. So So when I would create my animation, that's what it would look like, right? And then you can obviously add to that animation if you would like. All right, if you have any questions, let me know.